Welcome to a new Juju live session on choreography in Egyptian dance. What it means to choreograph Egyptian dance, how do we choreograph in this specific dance style, and a few more things that I would like to share with you on choreography, one of my favorite subjects in the field of Egyptian dance. Let me know in the comments to this live session if you enjoy choreography, if you like to choreograph, if you like learning other people's choreograph, if you don't, not other people's choreograph, other people's choreography, sorry. Let me know what is your experience in choreography in Egyptian dance, okay? I want to know all about it in the comments to this live video. So first things first, before I dive into the theme of choreography in Egyptian dance, let me know if you have any specific requirements, any specific question you would like me to address within the subject of this Juju live session. And here we go for the presentation. My name is Joana Saahirah. I'm a world-renowned Oriental dancer, teacher, choreographer, author, and I'm also the creator of the pioneering Joana Saahirah's World and Joana Saahirah's online dance school, delivering authentic Egyptian dance, personal discovery, and empowerment. And if you see me melting today during this live session, don't think it's weird. It's just so hot here. Okay, I promise to melt, but keep operational at the same time. Okay, I'm still gonna be operational. So let's dive into choreography in Egyptian dance, right? So as I usually do, I like to clarify what I mean by choreography so that we are on the same space, in the same place, and we come from the same concept, all right? So choreography is something that you prepare in advance. Let's start right there. When I want to choreograph, I choose a music, I choose a style I want to work with, and I decide, I think about, I feel what kind of movements and steps and postures am I going to fit into this music to bring it to life. So a choreography is a very conscious, pre-planned, structured way of bringing the music to life. Let's put it this way. On the other side, we have improvisation, and I have already covered a few of the most frequent questions in the field of improvisation. There is another Juju live session available at my YouTube channel on improvisation, so if you're interested, go there and watch it. So on the other side, we have improvisation that is not planned, it is not structured in the sense that we don't think about what steps and movements and postures am I gonna use? What kind of vocabulary am I gonna use? We just improvise. We react to the music naturally in the moment, from the moment, all right? So choreography is much more rational. If you think rationally, some dancers choreograph intuitively, but that's another conversation. But usually there is a component of rationality in the process of choreography that is wonderful for many of us and terrible for many of us, depending on how you're used to operate. I personally think that an Oriental dancer should develop the rational mind and the intuition, the subconscious. I think both are important. So if in improvisation I am more invited to develop my intuition, my subconscious mind, in choreography, I am more invited to develop my rational mind, my analytical mind, my critical mind. Where do I go? What am I gonna do? When do I stop? Why do I stop? Why am I using this step and not another step? Why am I building this phrase this way and not another way? This is very rational, it's very intellectual. It's not necessarily better or worse than working viscerally, intuitively, as it usually happens when we're improvising. I really think they are complementary, okay? And that takes us to the first question that I have chosen from many questions I have received in all of these years of career. So how can I choreograph a good dance piece? I think this is like $1 million question, isn't it? How can you choreograph a good dance piece? First of all, it really depends on what you consider a good dance piece. Okay, so the criteria of evaluation is subjective, And what may be a wonderful choreography for you may not be for me, and vice versa. So let's suppose that by a good dance piece, we're talking about a well-interpreted song or musical piece, movements and postures and steps that make perfect sense for a specific musical piece, all right? How can you choreograph it then? First of all, and I know a lot of dancers will not like me to say this, but I'm gonna say it because it's honestly what I think. I believe that not all of us are gonna be excellent choreographers. I think choreographing is a talent in itself. So we may have a beautiful teacher who is not a great choreographer. We may have a beautiful dancer who is not a beautiful choreographer. This distinction between the different skills and the different areas is something that exists in other dance forms like classical ballet or modern dance. It is clear in those contexts, it's very clear who's the choreographer, who's the dancer, who's the soloist, who are the dancers who are only part of the chorus, everything in its place. In this milieu, in these contexts, it is clear that there are specific talents for specific tasks. So choreography is something that everybody can do. All right, let's see if I don't explain myself poorly. All right, so I'm not saying that some can choreograph and some can't. I'm just saying that in order to create a good dance piece or an exceptional dance piece, in order to choreograph with mastery, I believe you need the talent for it. On another level, everybody can choreograph. Maybe not a masterpiece, but we can choreograph, and there are benefits to choreography, okay? Learning the choreography of other teachers, of other dancers, and creating our own choreography. So I want to make this clear. Although everybody can choreograph, I don't think everybody can be a genius choreographer. I do believe it is a skill, it is a talent in itself, and you can be an amazing dancer and be a terrible choreographer, okay? Now, there are some rules, there are some basic rules that will help everyone, talent, no talent, half talent, to choreograph in Egyptian dance. There are a few rules, okay? So the first thing is knowing the music and loving the music. And by knowing the music and loving the music, I mean knowing the nitty-gritty details about that music. What style is this? What instruments are playing? What is the kind of rhythms I'm listening to? The melodies? Are there solos? Are there dialogues? What is going on in the music? So getting very much acquainted with the music, getting very close to it, as close as possible, is the first thing everyone should do if they want to choreograph. And very often I see students and even professional dancers who approach choreography from a purely physical point of view. So they barely listen to the music and they start deciding what they're gonna do. They start thinking about steps and movements and they're not really listening, not yet, not ever, possibly. And this is one big mistake, okay? So if you want to create an interesting choreography, get to know the music in detail as much as possible, because the music is the base of the choreography. The music will inform you how far you can go in this choreography. It will inform you of the style you are choreographing, and you already know that in Egyptian dance we have many different styles. A lot of people don't know this, but it is important to remember that when we speak about choreographing Egyptian dance, we may be speaking about choreographing very different styles. Let's say I'm not even talking about Egyptian folklore. That in itself, it's another world. I'm talking about in Egyptian Oriental dance, what people usually call belly dance. We have different styles. You have classical Oriental, you have modern Oriental, you have Shaabi, old style, modern style, influenced by the Maraganat. You have Baladi, you have Baladi Awadi, you have tabla solo, which in my opinion is almost a style in itself. So there are different colors, different postures, different archetypes, different things to know, to master in the music before you think about your first step. Okay, so this is the first thing. How can you choreograph a good dance piece? You get to know the music very well. All right. The second thing is knowing how to break the music. What do I mean breaking the music? It is part of listening to the music and being attentive to the music. So when I listen to the music, I'm enjoying the music, right? If I'm improvising, I may not think about phrases. All right, I just go with the flow and see where the music will take me. But when you choreograph, you have time and space to think. And if you want to create a good structured choreography, you will need to notice the phrases of the music. Where is the first phrase, the second phrase, the third phrase, the fourth phrase? Where are the details? Where are the subtleties? Where are the solos? Where are the dialogues? Where is the tutti? There are musical terms and musical features that you need to identify, because then again, they will be the structure for your choreography, for your movement, all right? I need to know when a phrase starts and when a phrase is ending, okay? I need to know. I'm going to give you an example. Let's go for what? For Kulthum. And meanwhile, I'm going to see if we have comments, because I cannot see your comments here. So, hi Jihan, hola, hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Qué tal? Hi Jihan. Guys, it is such a bummer because I cannot see your comments unless I go to a different page. Hi Jihan, hi Xian, good morning. Hi Mango, hi guys. Okay, in a little second I'm gonna come back here because Xian has a question here. Share your questions please. In a second I'm coming back here. So where was I? I was in Kulthum. Let's suppose we are going for Kulthum, okay? Let's say Enta Omri that everybody knows. Okay? Let's suppose we're beginning the choreography of the first couplet of Enta Omri, okay? So in Egyptian dance and in Arabic classical music, in particular in Kulthum, we have an instrumental introduction, al-mezab, and then we have the couplet. Couplet number 1, couplet number 2, couplet number 3, like a poetry structure, okay? So the first couplet of Enta Omri starts with so we have to know where that phrase is starting. And I have to know where it finishes. End of first phrase. Beginning of second phrase. All this attention to the beginning and the end of each phrase in the musical piece we're choreographing is essential. Not only do I need to know where the phrases start and finish, but I also need to know where are the solos, the dialogues, the trialogues, the tutti, where are the details, the nuances, the little here and there, little touches of instruments or voice that compose the cake. All right, so I have to be very aware of all the layers of that cake from a structural point of view in order to choreograph in a solid way. So what else do we have to do in order to choreograph? We have to have vocabulary. All right, and although you don't need a lot of vocabulary to create a great choreography, because it's not a question of quantity, it's a question of quality. Knowing the vocabulary and knowing how to use it and how to express myself with the vocabulary, the truth is, the more vocabulary you have, the more you can play with. It happens the same in improvisation, right? If I know more dance vocabulary, more steps, more movements, more postures, more physical activity details, chances are I can play better because I have more colors to play with. Not necessarily meaning that the dancers who have more vocabulary are the best choreographers. No. Then again, quantity is not quality, and maybe I have a lot of vocabulary, a lot of dance information, and I have no idea how to use it. I have no idea how to bring it into the music, how to give it meaning, how to link movement to movement. Maybe I have no idea how to use all of that vocabulary. So don't mistake quantity for quality. But at the same time, obviously, if I have a good palette of colors, if I have vocabulary that allows me to play with different moods and different situations, different angles, different body parts, obviously, I have more chances of creating something interesting and dynamic. All right? So studying dance with a good teacher that gives you real technique, not copy-paste technique. Okay? Okay. So not the technique of a teacher who dances in front of you and tells you to follow them and good luck. See you next life. That's not what I mean. I mean understanding technique from the inside out. Knowing how the movements are performed from the inside out. Not needing a teacher in front of you to follow. This is super important. The more dominion you have of the vocabulary, the more you can play with in a choreography. The more colors you can have in your choreography. And also the easier it becomes to reinvent those movements, to reinvent those steps. Creating choreographies that reflect your own style with original movements, original combinations that are usually not seen, not standard. Okay, super important. What else? We also have the notion of space. And this is another thing that most dancers don't consider important. Most dancers are not trained for, but it is so important in choreography. I would say in improvisation as well, but especially in choreography. So having a clear notion of center, where is my center? A clear notion of direction, playing with directions, playing with my body positioned in different directions, playing with levels from up, down, playing with size, big movements, small movements, playing with tempo, with time, being able to play with slow, with pause, with going fast, and everything in between. All of these technical issues that are usually not valued because they're kind of invisible, okay? They make a great choreographer, and they allow you, the dancer, to create choreographies that are well built, that are not just random stitched movements, okay? Because there is a difference between randomly stitching movements together and creating a choreography. A choreography is a story. It must tell a story. It is not random movement, all right? But then again, we all start somewhere, and usually we start with stitching movements together randomly, all right? It's fine as long as we remember choreography is storytelling. So in the future, what I really want is to tell something, to build phrases that mean something, to tell a story, my story, through the music. Okay, so those are a few directions that you can consider from today in order to start choreographing your own stuff, I hope. Okay, now let me see what you have shared. Let me see. I'm surprised I haven't melted yet, but I'm going there. I'm heading there. Okay, so Shan is saying, I like to choreograph and also learn others' choreography, especially choreographies that are well thought out, sync with music and soul, have smooth transitions and contain some surprising or delightful moves. Beautiful, Shan. But you know, I love that you love it. So many of us don't like it. Not everybody likes choreography. As I've already shared in different venues, I was not a lover of choreography. I have a very tricky story with choreography. In a second, I'm going to tell it to you. But I learned how to love it. I actually adore it nowadays, but it wasn't always this way. Mango is saying, would you ever consider teaching more about the musicality, the structure of music in Arabic dance, the instruments, phases, etc. from a dance point of view? Yes, absolutely. And actually, Mango, in some of our courses at Joana Saahirah's Online Dance School, I do that. I go into the instruments, I go into the rhythms, into the phrasing, depends on the course. Sometimes I focus more on musicality, sometimes not so much, depending on the focus of the course. But that's definitely part of my teaching method, okay? Super important. What else, guys? What else? I hate choreography. What can I do about it? I love this question because this was me for a long time, okay? So you have to understand something. I started dancing officially when I was 5 in the Conservatoire of Classical Ballet. Can you imagine? 5. Yes, register that. There were so many benefits from having spent my entire childhood and part of my teenage years in classical ballet. There are so many benefits. I'm not going to go in there right now. But one of the downsides of starting so early in classical ballet is that I was forced from a very early age to memorize choreographies and present them on stages. Every 3 months, we would have a presentation. And I remember being as small as 5 years old on television performing a choreography. Can you believe it? 5 years old performing a choreography on national television in a show for children. Okay, I think my parents still have that recording. It must be hilarious, as you can imagine. We looked like little monkeys, you know. So it was so cute. Obviously a very basic choreography, but it is a tough thing for a child to grow up with because you are forced to move according to what others are telling you to move. You are forced to memorize sequences you don't even like, you don't even feel. There was a lot about choreography that I personally hated. I was always terrified of forgetting a step, especially when I was younger. I was terrified of going on stage and screwing it up, terrified. So before a performance, I would be nauseous and very nervous and not in a good place. And that made me hate choreography so much that when I started studying Egyptian dance, I said, "Khalas, this is my freedom, no more choreography." Okay, I've had enough from this. So in Egyptian dance, I found the freedom to improvise. And in Egyptian dance, I found the freedom to express myself and not having to repeat dance sequences that others had created. Or so I thought. Okay, then I started studying and working with Mahmoud Reda. Some of you already know this story. When I moved to Cairo to start my career, I was performing at night with my own orchestra at the best venue of Cairo and all over the country and doing weddings and all that stuff that professional dancers do under contract in Cairo and in Egypt. And during the day, I was studying and later on working with Mahmoud Reda, the father of Egyptian folklore, one of the greatest choreographers that has ever lived, my dearest friend and supporter and grandfather. And this is when he pushed me to start choreographing. And when I say pushed me, really pushed me, because in my shows I was improvising every night. It was not practical to choreograph because we had shows every single night, sometimes during the day and during the night. So do the math, we're talking about an average of 5 shows per day, 1 hour length show, me and the orchestra, sometimes with dancers, but mostly just me and the orchestra. So it's a lot of dancing every day. No way I would choreograph every piece. We would change the program of the show almost daily. So there was no time to choreograph and use my choreographies. What Mahmoud did was he convinced me to do it as an exercise for him. Okay, he said, do it for me. You will choreograph. You don't need to use your choreographies. Just do it for me as a personal favor. I will record you. We will watch it and we will see how it goes. So this is where it got me. Do it for me. I could not say no, right? So I said, okay, I'm going to do it for you just as an exercise internally. We're not going to show it anywhere. And suddenly I started falling in love with it. I was also choreographing with Mahmoud. So I was doing my own pieces for my own practice according to what he had asked of me, but I was also choreographing his pieces with him side by side. Actually, this is one of the biggest gifts my life has given me, the chance to be on a daily basis in the living room or in the dance room of his studio, in Astrid Nil's studio, watching him choreograph and choreographing with him. I learned how to choreograph from Mahmoud on those years without noticing that I was learning, because I was basically doing it on my own and I was doing it with him, watching him choreograph and choreographing with him. So he was so generously teaching me how to choreograph without ever telling me that he was teaching me how to choreograph. He was just doing it. Okay, and then you can understand why I'm so grateful to this man and why I owe him so much. Okay, so it's not like I've always loved choreography. I haven't loved choreography. No, 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 no. I fell in love with choreography because of Mahmoud Reda. And from the moment I started choreographing for myself, for him, I started teaching it. There were people coming to Cairo to study with me, sometimes to study with Mahmoud, and he would pass the people on to me. And slowly but surely, I started using my choreographies and I started falling in love with it. So what do I do if I hate choreography? I think you have to break the barrier and understand why you hate choreography. In my case, it had to do with the fact that I started so early, the fact that I had the pressure to perform from a very early age, and everything that comes along with it. But for most dancers, I believe that their distaste for choreography is connected with two main things. First of all, memorization. It is hard to memorize, and muscle memory is something that you also practice. It improves with time. The more you memorize choreographies, the easier it will become to memorize choreographies. And it also has to do with something which is, when you choreograph, you come to terms with your limits, your limitations. When we improvise, we feel so inspired, we feel on the spot, everything is so visceral and pleasurable. But when we choreograph, because we have time to think, because we have time to prepare, we are supposedly creating our best work. And sometimes our best work is not as good as we thought it would be. And we don't have the excuse that we're improvising. I had no time to think, I just improvised. No excuse, because in choreography you have time to think. So choreography makes you humble in the sense that puts you in contact with your potential and with your limitations. And I think this is very scary for most of us, aside from the memorization skill, which, as I've already explained, is something that you can improve by doing it. So if you want to memorize more easily, with less effort, memorize more, okay? It's a muscle like any other muscle, all right? I hope that helps. What kind of personal skills do I need to develop in order to choreograph Egyptian dance? Okay, what kind of personal skills? I'm going to give you a random, very general list of skills that you need for sure in order to choreograph, independently of being an amateur, a professional, independently of how much experience you have in the field of Egyptian dance. I mean, I think all of us should choreograph. Beginners, middle level, advanced students, professionals. I think choreography can be a really great exercise with so many benefits, dance benefits, personal benefits, even if you don't like it, especially if you don't like it, okay? Because if you don't like it, rest assured, there is some zones of discomfort, some challenges there that would probably be a good idea to face. Okay, so what kind of personal skills do you need to develop in order to choreograph? I would say awakening your creativity. This is super important. And so many of us are never told, we are not taught to use our creativity. So many dancers, Egyptian dancers, foreign dancers, they learn through copy. They learn through following the teacher, and they are never taught to create their own stuff. I am very careful about this. I think it is important to stimulate the creativity of students from the start. And students who have been with me for a while, they know this. I will ask you, even from a beginner's level, to start doing your own combos, your own ideas, your own perspective, your own dance combinations, small choreographies, exercises. I will put my students in the hotspot because awakening and strengthening their creativity is as important as teaching them technique and music and culture. It is as important, or perhaps more important. Okay, so awakening your creativity is a personal skill that you must have. Self-confidence is another one. So there is another big issue and another big flaw, in my opinion, in the way Egyptian dance is taught, generally speaking. And that is the lack of self-confidence of students and the lack of ability from the teachers to develop it, right? So it is important to develop the self-confidence in people, to show them they have an identity, they have a mind of their own, they have a heart of their own, they have a sensibility of their own, they have an ear of their own. When they listen to a musical piece, they're going to listen to it in their own way, and it is beautiful. When they allow their bodies to speak naturally, everything is going to happen in a very unique way, and that is beautiful. What makes you different? What makes you stand out? Your qualities, your flaws, everything that makes you who you are. It is beautiful. It is who you are, and it is the matter from which dance and dreams are made of. Okay? So self-confidence, confidence in who you are, in your uniqueness. This is something that most dancers don't develop, unfortunately, but it is something that I consider essential, an essential skill for choreography. Because if you don't have confidence, if you don't have confidence in yourself, in your abilities, in your creativity, in your ideas, in your thought process, in your intuition, you're going to doubt yourself all the time. You're not going to finish a phrase, much less an entire choreography. You're going to get stuck on self-criticism and judgment and putting yourself down and doubting yourself. You're going to get stuck and you're not going to finish the sequence or the choreography. All right? So it's so important to have confidence and to own who you are and what you know right now. Okay? So the choreographies that I do nowadays are not of the level of the choreographies I did 20 years ago, because I have developed, I have grown, I have more experience, I have more knowledge, I have more sensibility, I have more life experience. So allow yourself to grow and do better when you can do better. But right now, do what you can and own it. Own it. This is as much as I can do right now, and it's fabulous. Okay? Super important. Also having an inquisitive mind. Okay, so what is an inquisitive mind? It's kind of a curiosity-oriented mind. Okay, so when you listen to a song or to a musical piece, and when you think about what movements am I going to use, how am I going to start choreographing, how am I going to build this phrase or this detail or this solo, it is important to have this kind of question marks in front of you. What if I did it this way? What if I did it that way? What if I did the opposite of everything that I'm thinking about? What if I do it wrong? What if I do it nonsensical? What if I do it slower? What if I do it faster? What if I do it in a shockingly ugly way? Having this experimental, inquisitive mind is important. And this is something I learned from choreographing with Mahmoud Reda. One of the things that I noticed the most while I was working with him all those years was how inquisitive he would be. He would often ask me, what do you think about this phrase? I've already finished it, it's done, but what if we changed something in the middle? And I would propose something, right? So I would propose a step or a detail. You would try it out and say, great, let's go even further. What if we do it upside down? What if we do it going backwards? I say, going backwards? Doesn't make sense. I say, yeah, but let's try it. So this experimental mindset, this openness to go even for the nonsensical and see how it looks like, see how it goes. This is the mind of a choreographer, okay? Otherwise, you're gonna repeat standards and cliches that you've already done, that everybody has already done, and that's not the goal of choreography. Choreography is supposed to push the envelope. Choreography is supposed to make the dance style, that gender, advance. So great choreographies allow for the evolution of the dance. They don't repeat old standards, old cliches all the time. They do it in a different way. They question everything. What if we do it upside down? Okay, what if we do it from a different angle, from a different direction, from a different point, from a different body part? This curiosity and this willingness to experiment is a characteristic of great choreographers, and I believe it is a characteristic, it's a skill that everyone can develop and probably should. Okay, what else? Resilience. This is another thing I have witnessed in Mahmoud Reda specifically, because we also have this idea that if we're meant to choreograph, we're gonna create something fabulous. Oh my God, I'm gonna close myself in the dance studio and I'm gonna create something ravishing. And then we don't, okay? And we think, oh, this is not for me, I'm not good for this, I am for improvisation, I'm not talented. But we're not resilient enough to understand that great stuff doesn't always come in a moment of inspiration. Sometimes great stuff comes after you have returned to that piece many times. And then again, this is something I saw Mahmoud Reda doing all the time. We would finish a morning of work. Perhaps we would have choreographed 3-4 phrases of a choreography. And you would tell me, tomorrow we come back to this. I don't like the result, but we come back to this. So for today, we're fine. I said, are you sure? Today we're fine. Yes, today we're fine. Tomorrow, we're gonna grab what we did and we're gonna probably redo it. And very often he would change it. Very often he would start all over. Yes, all over. The work of an entire morning would be thrown into the garbage and we would start from scratch. But starting from scratch, having completed that morning of work was meaningful. So being resilient, going back to the choreography several times, as many times as necessary, until we reach a point when we are sort of satisfied for now. Okay, so not presuming that great stuff is going to happen in a gush, in a moment of inspiration. A ray of light is going to strike me and I'm going to create a fabulous inspiration right now, man. And if I don't, I'm going to break my head against the wall. No. Sometimes you get into your dance studio to choreograph and nothing interesting comes, okay? But it is important to be there and to do your best and to do bad stuff and to do boring stuff. And then you come back to it, you improve it, you change it, you adapt it, okay? So be resilient and come back to the subject as long as it takes, okay? Another quality that I believe is central in the process of choreographing is humbleness, right? So I've already told you that choreography puts you in contact with your limitations. It also puts you in contact with your potential. How good of a dancer are you? How good of a choreographer are you? How good of a storyteller are you? How much dance vocabulary do you know? Do you master? How inventive can you be? How original can you be? How expressive and soulful can you be? All of these questions are answered when you choreograph your own pieces. And sometimes the answers are scary and you don't want to listen to them. This is why we run away, okay? Because it really shows you what you're about. and how far you can go creatively in this field, okay? On another level, what I mean by humbleness is the humbleness to see that I'm not going to be brilliant all the time. Sometimes I choreograph on the spot, beautiful, and I don't know how. You know, I have choreographed on the spot for teaching, for instance, in classes and workshops on the spot, brilliantly, and I have no idea how that was possible. I would choreograph on the spot in front of my students. Sometimes, you know, I was coming from a festival to the other. I had no time to prepare. Sometimes I choreographed in the bathroom of airports. I mean, I've choreographed with time and without time, and sometimes a ray of light strikes and you're so inspired and you don't need much time to go back to this piece. Sometimes it doesn't. And you need the humbleness to accept that you're not going to be brilliant all the time. You're not going to be interesting all the time. Sometimes you're just tired. Sometimes you're just boring. And this is it. And you have to work with what you have and improve from it. So humbleness is a key to choreography. If there is too much ego in the equation, you're going to keep running away from choreography. And also from learning the choreography of teachers, because learning the choreography of other teachers is also challenging in different ways, but it's also challenging, okay? What else? Let me see what you have here. Let me see what you have here. And by the way, thank you for sharing your questions. Let me see. Mango is saying, this will be a silly question, but I never really understood the subject of telling a story with choreography. Could you just explain, please, very shortly? Yes, I will try to do it shortly. Jihan says, I like to put choreographies together. It is the best way to express myself, and it leads me to a source of genuine happiness. Beautiful. Beautiful. And I know you like it, Jihan. I know, and it is great. I love to see dancers putting themselves out there and creating their own stuff. As a teacher, this is perhaps the thing that makes me the happiest. So, yes, beautiful. Okay, let me answer Mango. Let me answer Mango before I move forward. So, what does it mean to tell a story in a choreography, right? It can be a literal thing and it can be a subjective thing, all right? So when we speak about music in Egyptian dance, we speak about two major areas, instrumental and lyrics. Yes? Independently of the style, folklore, Oriental, Baladi, Sha'abi, independently of the style, we may have an instrumental piece, only instruments, not people singing, not a singer, no lyrics, and we may have instrumental with lyrics. These are very different types of music and different types of requirements for improvisation and for choreography, but both tell a story. You may notice or not, but when you are dancing, you're telling something about yourself, unless you're copying somebody else and you're not allowing your personality to come through. Chances are you're telling me a story, even if you're not aware that you're telling me a story. That is generally speaking. If I'm dancing from within, choreography or improvisation, if it's my improvisation or my choreography, and it comes from within, I am telling a story of who I am. It reminds me of a song of Brandy Carlile. So many stories of where I've been. La 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 la. Okay, I'm dreaming now. It tells us the story of you, of who you are for you, what the music is for you, what this moment is about for you. That is the general storytelling I believe all of us go through, knowingly or not, when we dance from within. Then we have the instrumental pieces and the pieces with lyrics. If it is an instrumental piece, there is still a storyline. There is still something that you have to portray. You have to communicate, but it is open because instrumental music is subjective. There is no specific meaning to instrumental music, right? But when I have lyrics, let's suppose Enta Omri again, okay? Bring me back the eyes and the days that have gone, that are past. This is already a story. And as a dancer, improvising or choreographing, I have to tell that story. I cannot just randomly move, be cute, and show off my moves. Okay? So when we're dancing instrumental pieces, we have a little bit more freedom to tell a story that we like. A little bit more subjective, a little bit more objective. But when we dance musical pieces with lyrics, the storyline is already there. Somebody has written it. So I'm gonna feel as much as possible if this storyline has something to do with me. How do I relate with this? How do I feel this story as mine? And then I have to tell that story. I have to honor those lyrics. I have to honor that song. In my improvisation or in my choreography, even more in my choreography, because I had the bloody time to think about it. There is no excuse. There is no excuse. When you are improvising, you have the excuse that it was all made in the moment, right? I just improvised. How many times have you listened to dancers using improvisation as an excuse for bad dance? I was just improvising. It's not a big deal. You know, I wasn't prepared. Yeah. But when we choreograph, you don't have the improvisation card to play with. When you choreograph, you have the time to decide what to do. And if there is a story there, defined or undefined, with lyrics, without lyrics, and you're not telling it, there is a part of the dance that is lost. And there is a part of the mastery of Egyptian dance that is not there. Honestly, is this easy? No. Honestly, is this something that beginners can do? Probably not. This is why we, and by we I mean I, develop storytelling in my students from intermediate to advanced level. I usually don't speak about storytelling to beginner students, precisely because they will need time to acquire knowledge and skills and personal maturity to get there. But as a base, it is important for dancers to know that in improvisation or in choreography, there is always a story. Whoever wrote those musical pieces had something in their mind. Intuitively or rationally, they told their story. As dancers, as interpreters, we have to bring that story to life. Not in an ethereal way. That's the place of the music. You cannot see the music. You cannot touch the music. But in a human way. What the dancer does is to bring the music to life in a palpable, human, and soulful way. I hope I made it clear. I'm not sure it is easier to understand what I mean by storytelling. I hope it is. Let me know if it's not. Let me know if it's not. Okay, guys? What else? Where do I start choreographing? Can I start choreographing from the end? Okay, so there is also this idea, this misconception that in order to choreograph a piece, you have to start from the beginning and go until the end, right? But it is not so. It is not so. Sometimes I start choreographing a dance piece from the middle. Sometimes I start choreographing from the end. Sometimes I start choreographing from the beginning, okay? So you can choose a specific phrase that appeals to you, a specific phrase in the music from the beginning to the middle to the end, wherever, that you feel is talking to you, something that really wants to make you move, and that may be the first phrase you choreograph in the full choreography. And it's not necessarily the first phrase, the phrase that opens the music, okay? So I believe there should be flexibility. Sometimes I start choreographing from the beginning and I go all the way till the end, okay? And sometimes I start with the end, sometimes I go into a phrase in the middle. It really depends on my mood, depends on the music, depends if something inside the music is calling me. So there is this flexibility of starting where you feel like starting, not necessarily from the beginning, right? You can start in the middle, then you can go to the beginning, or you can start in the middle, go to the end, and then go to the beginning, and then fill the spaces that are not worked on yet, okay? What else? What is better? I hate this question. What is better, choreography or improvisation? Guys, what do you think? What is better? Choreography or improvisation? What is better for you, in your opinion? What do you prefer? What do you prefer? Actually, this question is a little crooked because there are two different questions here. What is better and what do you prefer? Because sometimes what I prefer is not necessarily better. Okay, so for many years I preferred improvisation and I said no, ever to choreography. Was it better? Was improvisation better? No, I just preferred it because it was my comfortable zone, okay? So, I don't believe there is one better than the other. I've already covered the issue of improvisation, and in my opinion, in Egyptian dance, improvising is the most natural, organic way, okay? But I do believe that choreography is important in your education as a dancer. It is important for the development of the dance as a style, as an art form. It is super important. Very often the ones who make the dance advance, evolve, are the choreographers. They're not the improvisers, okay? Because improvisation also fades away. You know, you improvise, you will never do it again unless it is recorded and reproduced. But it's not considered a reference or a staple, and it's usually not taught, right? I mean, you don't teach your improvisations, at least I don't. You know, when I improvise with my students, we're just warming up or having fun. I'm not asking them to learn my improvisation. So choreography is, in my opinion, a big tool for evolution in Egyptian dance. And I've noticed that the greatest choreographers were the ones who made the dance advance, who allowed the dance to take huge leaps of evolution. So I think both are important for very different reasons, okay? Which one do I prefer? Nowadays, I love both. I do think that improvisation and choreography have different places and different moods, and depending on the mood and the place and why I'm dancing, I'm gonna use choreography or improvisation, but certainly I work with both every day. Every day I improvise, every day I choreograph. Are there specific exercises I can learn that will teach me to choreograph? Okay, so this is, I was reluctant to write down this question because this is so specific. This is almost like the subject for a course. And by the way, guys, we're having a workshop, a laboratory on how to choreograph and how to improvise in Egyptian dance inside our new Baladi Advanced course, Ma'alema Special Edition. I am gonna share the link to that course, to the information about that course in the comments to this video once we wrap this live session. Inside this new Baladi course, I'm gonna offer a major bonus, which is an entire workshop on choreography and improvisation in Egyptian dance. So if you want to learn the specific exercises, the specific things you need to do in order to improvise better and to choreograph better, I will highly advise you to join this course because you're gonna have it for free. You're gonna have this workshop, this bonus for free inside the course. Only available to the students who are in the Baladi course. By the way, I'm not gonna offer this workshop outside of the Baladi course, ever. All right. Now, I can give you a few guidelines, right? I mean, the first thing is to do it. There is no specific exercise to start with. You can start choreographing small phrases, small dance combos, and when you're comfortable, you start doing bigger pieces, more complex pieces. So there is nothing like doing it. The only way to learn a skill is by doing it. Practice that skill. It's not about watching others do it. It's not about reading about it. It's not about hearing about it. It's not about thinking about it. It is doing it, all right? There is a power in action. If I want to become a better writer, I have to write more. If I want to become a better painter, I have to paint more. If I want to become a better choreographer, I have to choreograph more. So even if you're just choreographing small pieces, 1 minute choreography, 30 seconds choreography, one little phrase, 2-3 movements stitched together, part of a phrase, start somewhere, but start doing it, okay? And do it consistently. The other thing that I really like to tell my students is to record themselves. So when you choreograph, big choreography, small choreography, consider recording the result and watching the result with the eyes of a loving audience member, okay? So there are 2 ways of watching ourselves. In a very personal, ego-oriented way, when I'm gonna either hate me and hate my dance, or presume I'm Isadora Duncan, the best and the last Coca-Cola in the desert. I take it very personally. Or in a more mature, distanced way. I'm not gonna go to the peak of the world if I like what I see, and I'm not gonna die if I don't like what I see. I look at my choreography as objectively as possible, as if I did not know the person dancing, okay? So I'm gonna look at what I have created and ask, what is working? What is not working? What do I like? What I don't like? If I was an audience member watching this choreography, would it interest me? Would it bother me? Would I want to keep watching it? All of these questions answered honestly are keys that can help you improve your choreographies. They are keys that will tell you where you should go, where, from where. What is working, what is not, indicates your strengths and your weaknesses as a dancer. Perhaps I don't like that I'm repeating myself. Perhaps I don't like there is too much tension. Perhaps I don't like that the face is blank. Perhaps I don't like the lack of connection with the music. All of those things are indications of things I have to improve. I have to study, I have to focus on. Perhaps I like the expression of that dancer. Perhaps I like her charisma. Perhaps I like her originality. Perhaps I like her confidence. And all of those things are pointers, are directions that tell me, what do I already have? What conquests do I already have in my hands? And how can I expand them? How can I make them even more visible, even more powerful? So creating and doing it from a small scale to a bigger scale, and recording yourself and learning how to watch yourself with a more distanced, more professional eye. This is 2 things that I would recommend for now, okay? And they will already make a big difference, so try them on. What else? Who is the best Egyptian dance choreographer? Bye. This is the moment when I go away. Bye, see you later. Okay, I'm back. But I mean, really? I was also like thinking, am I gonna read this question? Okay, I try to read every question, okay, guys? And if I don't want to answer, or if I don't know the answer, I will tell you. Okay, I know what I know, and what I don't know, I don't know. And if I don't want to answer, I'm comfortable telling you I don't want to answer it. But actually, I'm going to answer it. Okay, who do you think is the best Egyptian dance choreographer, by the way? Guys, let me know in the comments to this live session. For you, who is the best choreographer in this field? Who is it? You're either gonna share that answer while you are with me live, or if you're watching this in the replay, please let me know in the comments as well, in your opinion, who is the best Egyptian dance choreographer. And before I give you my answer, let me read what our beautiful dancers are sharing now. Jihan says she's speaking about our signature course. By the way, guys, Joana Saahirah signature course 2nd edition is coming, so stay tuned. Hi, Ola. Ola says they are 2 different forms of expression. Okay, I'm not sure what Ola is speaking about, but I presume she's referring to improvisation and choreography. I presume. Mango says, great explanation. I finally understand the concept of storytelling, especially on non-lyrical music while dancing. Yes, yes. Jihan says, studying with you, that is with me, has helped me so much to put my choreographies together and to enjoy them more. Beautiful. I'm very happy to know that, Jihan. Jihan is in our signature course, and Xian as well. So they know I like to challenge them, right? I like to put them in the hot spot and make them create their own stuff. So who is the best Egyptian dance choreographer? There are two specific choreographers that I really like, one above the other. And forgive me if I harm people's sensibilities, okay? But the first choreographer is an obvious choice, and that is Mahmoud Reda. Hands down, Mahmoud Reda is the best choreographer in the field of Egyptian dance, in this case in the field of Egyptian folklore, that I have ever known. And I don't say it because of the personal attachment and the professional attachment I have with Mahmoud Reda. I say it objectively because that's what I think. That's exactly what I think. From the work he has created for the iconic Reda troupe, from the revolution he has created in the field of Egyptian dance, from all my experience of choreographing with Mahmoud, teaching with Mahmoud, and seeing how his mind works with the music, it is nothing short of genius. So hands down, and guys, forgive me if I am not calling a genius to everyone. For me, there are not a lot of geniuses and not a lot of masters. We have a lot of teachers, a lot of dancers, but very few are master teachers and very few are geniuses. Mahmoud was a genius and he was a master teacher as well. So my favorite choreographer is Mahmoud Reda. There is another choreographer that I actually like, but he's a terrible person, so I'm not going to mention the name. It is a man, but I'm not going to mention the name because he's such a lousy person, and I'm not going to promote someone that has no personal quality. So this is me, Joana, saying it as it is. So for all effects, my favorite is Mahmoud Reda, and the number two is a man, okay? A really nice choreographer, but such a bad character. I really do not want to promote his name ever. So next, what have I learned about choreography from your work with the master, aka the father of Egyptian dance? Actually, it's the father of Egyptian folklore, but I transcribed the question as it is, Mahmoud Reda. Okay, so I will have to be short. I will have to keep it short because otherwise I would be here for a long time. What I have learned in terms of choreography from Mahmoud Reda is an entire course, okay? We collaborated for around 8 years. It's a long time. And we collaborated almost on a daily basis. As I've already explained, I was performing mostly in the afternoon and night. In the summertime, we would perform during the day as well, starting as early as 11 a.m., if you can believe it. In Cairo, in the summertime, you do perform at 11 a.m. It is painful, especially when you finished last night at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. Okay, but it is true. And my experience with Mahmoud was so intense and so extensive and so deep. There is so much to share. So I'm going to share a few things. And then again, if you want to know more about this, I have included a module on Mahmoud Reda and what I have learned from Mahmoud Reda in terms of choreography in the workshop that I've already mentioned, how to improvise and choreograph Egyptian dance, included as a bonus in our new course, Baladi Advanced, the Ma'alema edition. So please do not forget, once I wrap this class, or this live session, check the comments to the session because I'm sharing the link to the course right there, okay? First of all, what I have learned from Mahmoud Reda in terms of choreography was the respect for the music and the attention to detail. It all starts in the ear, And I know that I've mentioned this on so many occasions because it is true. A great Oriental dancer is a great listener. You cannot become a great Oriental dancer if you are not a lover of the music, if you are not in absolute awe and respectful of the music, okay? It is a condition, sine qua non condition for great Oriental dancing. So, having a detailed attention to the music and asking, what is the music saying? What is the music telling me before we start considering what we're going to do about it? This was a phase that I went through with Mahmoud every time we choreographed together, and it was something that I started to do by myself when I choreographed alone by myself. We would sit listening to the music and going phrase by phrase. What is it saying? What instruments are there? What rhythms are there? What melodies are there? If there are lyrics, what are the lyrics saying? Let's sing the lyrics. I would sing the lyrics with them. We would sing, have fun with the lyrics. Get very close to what the music was telling us. And after it was clear what the music was about, after I could tell you in detail what this music was about, what this music was saying, then we would start deciding movements and steps. Then we would go into the dance studio and put it into action, but not before we ask, what is this music telling me? Okay, so this was the first thing that I learned from Mahmoud. The second thing is organization. Organization. And dividing things into small, chewable tasks. Then again, it depends on the person. It depends on how much time you have on your hands. If you're someone like me, I do 1,000 things at the same time. Time is not something I have to give away. Okay, so my time is short. And I remember that very often what you would do was organizing the choreography work in chewable, doable chunks. So instead of saying we're gonna choreograph this piece today or in 2 days, he would tell me, on Monday, we're gonna do the first 30 seconds. I say, 30 seconds only? Okay, that's fine, that's doable, let's do it. And 30 seconds in choreography can be eternity. But of course, I did not know, I did not have the experience yet, you know. So I thought 30 seconds, 30 seconds only? Yeah, of course. So it sounds doable, and it is doable. 30 seconds is a lot of work, especially if you're choreographing, but it is doable. On Tuesday, we're gonna do 1 minute, just 1 minute. On Wednesday, we're gonna review it, okay? Review it, just review it, yeah. We're gonna review it, we're gonna add, we're gonna move, we're gonna change, we're gonna polish it. And then on Thursday, we're gonna add a little more, 20 seconds, 30 seconds more. And he would make it sound so easy. He would make it sound so doable, almost like an employee from a company that has specific tasks every day, and there is no madness, there is no stress, there is no anxiety. I don't need to finish this today. I don't need to be brilliant today. You know, it's just creating a structure of work that allows me to face the choreography with easiness. Taking it easy and fun. 30 seconds, yeah, that will be fun, not too much. So in the end of the day, maybe those 30 seconds would be hours of intense work, maybe. But the idea of choreographing 30 seconds was okay. It made me want to do it. It is doable. It is not scary, okay? So that would be the second thing that it taught me how to do that I think made a huge difference, especially if you need to choreograph consistently all the time, which is my case. I choreograph for my students at Joana Saahirah's online dance school. I choreograph for my students in my private coaching programs. Everybody has a different subject, different choreographies, different technique, different styles, okay? I choreograph for students who ask me for private coaching for judging for, competitions. I choreograph for shows, dancers who hire me to choreograph for a specific performance. There are so many ways I am choreographing every day and consistently. If I did not have that doable, structured, wise way of organizing the work sessions, the way Mahmoud has taught me, I would drive myself nuts. Okay, and most of the time I would not do it because it is scary to choreograph a 5 minutes or 6 minutes or 7 minutes piece. It's a lot of work. Only the ones who have never done it presume it is easy. Try it and then you will know it, okay? What else? Mahmoud also taught me to think outside the box. So in order to choreograph, what we would do is we would make small pauses for tea, for coffee, and in those pauses, we would watch different styles of dances. So instead of getting inspiration from Oriental dance and Egyptian folklore, and basically there was not much to get inspiration from because he was the source of inspiration. You know, I mean, Mahmoud Reda, who is Mahmoud Reda gonna watch to inspire himself in Egyptian dance? I mean, you know, there is not much. So we would sit down in the sofa in his studio in Asr El Nil, and he would put on musicals, he would put on Argentinian tango, he would put on flamenco shows, he would put on salsa, he would put on classical ballet. We would get out of our Oriental dance piece and drink from other influences and from other styles as a way to break the patterns, the standards and the cliches that we wanted to run away from. Is that clear? I hope it is. So instead of searching for inspiration within the realm of Egyptian dance, we would go outside of Egyptian dance, consciously looking for a refresh of the mind. And then we would go back to the studio and we had different ideas for a step, for a movement, for a posture, for a connection of movement, for an expression. So that was another big thing that I have learned from working with Mahmoud and watching him choreograph, is that I look for inspiration everywhere. Usually not in the field of Egyptian dance because that's already the box I'm in. So if I want to have different ideas, if I want to choreograph in an original way, in a meaningful way, in an expressive way, very often I'm going to search for inspiration elsewhere, okay, in different dance styles. Last but not least for now, what I have learned from Mahmoud in terms of choreography is to be totally okay with the process of redoing things. We go back to humbleness, right? Because so many of us, myself included, we have this illusion that if we're meant to choreograph, we're gonna create something brilliant. Yani, ala tul, right ahead. And reality is, when you do this for a long time, and even if you do this for a short time, if you've been doing this for a short time, sometimes you're gonna do pretty lousy stuff, man. And you're gonna do boring stuff, and you're gonna do repetitive stuff, and you're gonna do cliches and things that have already been done thousands of times. You're not gonna see yourself in a brilliant, original spot all the time. I would say it is not common to see ourselves in that space. And what happens is our ego cannot take it. Our vanity cannot take it. We cannot take being average. We cannot handle not being brilliant. And if we think I'm not brilliant right ahead, this is not for me. I go back to improvisation. That's where I am the queen. No, no. Sometimes you create something that is not that interesting and then you go back to it, you improve it. And then you go back to it, you eventually change it, and then you go back to it, you improve it a little bit more, you polish it, you change it, you add another movement, you remove one phrase, you redo that phrase, sometimes you redo the entire thing, and suddenly you have something brilliant. Coming from something that was not brilliant at all. But you had to go back to it humbly, with your ego on the ground, okay? With your soul in your hands, but with your ego on the ground. No vanity. No vanity. Okay? I am not brilliant. I am not anything. I'm just present. And I'm creating from what I got. Let's see what happens. Okay? So if there is mystery in improvisation, if in improvisation we dive into the unknown, there is also mystery in choreography. There is also mystery in choreography. There is also an element of unknown of uncertainty, of surprise in choreography. Very often I start choreographing a piece that I don't like. It ends up being my favorite choreography. Very often I struggle with the choreography of a piece. I think, oh my God, why did I get myself into this, right? And then suddenly an idea comes because I'm working. You know what Pablo Picasso used to say? I love this quote. Inspiration exists, but it has to find you working. Inspiration exists, but it has to find you working, right? So sometimes you're working on it, it's not working, it's not moving forward. Oh my God, you cry, you rip off your hair. This is me, okay? You knock your head on the wall. I am not talented. Drama, right? I mean, drama queen. And suddenly an idea strikes. You go to the bathroom to pee, you're not thinking about it, you come back, an idea comes out of nowhere. But it is not out of nowhere. Because the muses of creation are rewarding you. You have been working on it and producing bullshit. Pardon my French. But they are watching you struggle, they're watching you sweat, and they say, you know what? She deserves a sweet. She's been working on this for a while and she's been suffering and giving it her best or his best. Let's reward her. These are the muses of inspiration. You know what the muses of inspiration love? They love hard workers. They love dancers who are not so infatuated with their vanity, who are not so delusional, so in love with their ego that they're able to work without results. The muses of creativity, of inspiration, they love people who are there honoring the work, even if the results are not visible yet. And when the muses of creativity or inspiration see that you are there consistently working on your choreography, even if the results are not showing up yet, rest assured they will come to your side and they will tell you, I'll reward you. You deserved it. Well done. And suddenly something comes that opens up the door and you find a way of making that choreography that was initially lousy something interesting and sometimes something brilliant. So do the work. Show up and do the work and inspiration will strike, as Pablo Picasso used to say. Okay, so these were the questions I selected for this Juju live session. I'm gonna invite you once more to check our workshop, how to choreograph and how to improvise Egyptian dance. This is a bonus inside our new course, Bella the Advanced course, Ma'alema Ayoyabet Special Edition, available at Joana Saahirah's Online Dance School. You're going to find the link for more information about this course, where you will find the laboratory or workshop on choreography and improvisation in Egyptian dance, in the description box below this video if you're gonna watch this replay at Joana Saahirah's YouTube channel, or in the comments to this video if you're gonna watch it right here at Joana Saahirah's Facebook profile. Last but not least, if you have not subscribed to our free and fabulous newsletter, do it so right now. When you join us, you become part of our inside community. You receive our offers, our gifts, our courses, our news, our exclusive inspirations, and specific goodies I only share with my beautiful people. You're also going to find the link to subscribe, to join our free and fabulous newsletter, either in the comments to this video or in the description box below the video, in case you're going to watch this in my YouTube channel. When you join the newsletter, you also gain access to immediate free goodies on authentic Egyptian dance, personal discovery and empowerment, and you gain access to our free ebook, Welcome to Egyptian Dance Wonderland. What are you waiting for? I will be glad to see you inside our platform and inside our school, Joana Saahirah's Online Dance School. I love you guys. Thank you for attending live. Thank you for your questions. Thank you to the students, the beautiful dancers that have joined me today and shared your feedback. Thank you, Ola, Jill, Chan, Mango. I love you guys. And I will see you soon. Until then, all my love and my warmest, most passionate kiss. Mwah!